So, welcome back to Policing TV. This is IPA Insight, and we are today speaking for the third time with Andrea Shoetan about her police work and also her work as a disabled police officer, if I may say so, because she is a dedicated police officer and she had a fantastic years in policing. 90 years in total as it is of today, and she's looking forward to work and she is 60. So, Andrea, with this lack of hearing, your hearing deteriorating over time. We don't know where it will end up for you totally and if you will lose it fully, but you're wearing some kind of aid today. But this is not about you, because I understand that you've done a lot of work for other people that are disabled and is connected to the hearing disability. And I know that you was awarded due to this. And I would like to know how you felt to be awarded and how it might have encouraged you to continue to work with this kind of disability within policing.
Oh, thank you. The award was a massive shock. I didn't even know I'd been nominated. And I was nominated by, I mentioned Ollie Dockerell earlier, the Senior Quality and Inclusion Advisor within Hampshire, who I work really closely with my Hear Me staff and officer support group for officers and staff with hearing loss. He'd nominated me for this award, which is Police Officer with Diverse Abilities, which I like. Again, it's saying the positive, isn't it? Not disability, which isn't actually a very nice word, which is why it's quite a barrier. So yes, I've sat there at the conference last year. We have an annual conference for the Disabled Police Association, and my name was read out, and I got up, and I happened to be wearing my uniform. So most people wear, like a dress or, civilian clothes, if you like, to the evening event when the awards are done. But I was actually made a point of wearing my number one uniform, my tunic, my medals, because I was trying to advocate for hearing loss, to say, look, you can still be a police officer in a uniform and be restricted, and you can still be employed and still do a job that you love. You can find a different way. And that's why I chose to wear uniform that evening. Nothing to do with the fact because I didn't know I was having an award. And also I delivered a presentation on my hearing work, which was a national piece of work, and also wore uniform for that. So I was really chuffed, because we don't do this work, none of us do, for recognition, for rewards. That's not what it's about. It's always about other people for me. If I can help someone else, it makes me feel fantastic. I love it. I'm helping people in about 20 different police forces at the moment with hearing loss, with trying to help them get the reasonable adjustments they need to be able to do their job. Because that's all they need. They need the tools that they need to be able to perform to the best of their ability. So I mentioned someone called Kathy Buffery earlier. So we connected many years ago now. She runs her own support group within Greater Manchester Police for officers and staff with hearing loss. We were connected and realised we had a real joint passion to do this work nationally, because not every police force has an independent staff support network for hearing loss. So that's when we started our work. And we realised very quickly that policing, like any other career, the people at the top, they want statistics, they want facts. They don't want me and Kathy saying, well, loads of people have got hearing loss in the police. What does that mean? That's a guess, isn't it? So last year in 2024, we did the first ever national hearing survey, which was sent to every police force in the UK. We had 2,500 responses to it for staff and officers stating they had hearing loss, stating that they didn't have the support they wanted to have. And they also, interestingly, it showed that there is a risk to hearing with the job that we do, which wasn't a surprise to me. So from the age of 25 years old, there was a real peak in the graph and the data to show that that's where hearing loss is starting. And we can't prove that that's down to the individual job that we do. But I think it's common sense to say, just like the military, it's accepted in the military and in firearms for police officers that carry guns, that's an accepted risk, that of course you're at risk if you fire a gun from hearing loss. But the normal job of listening to an earpiece, listening to a radio all day, standing next to a busy motorway, going into nightclubs, hearing people at football matches, that's likely going to cause hearing loss, isn't it? So that's why we did that piece of work. And now we're nationally made recommendations on the basis of that. I'd like to get everyone in those operational roles a hearing test every 3 years, because in the UK, if you're not a firearms officer, then you get your hearing tested as at the recruitment stage. You never get it tested again.
Oh, okay.
And also that recognition that it is putting our hearing at risk, and we need to make sure we've got the best kit we can with earpieces. So we need to do some more studies, academic studies, working with universities to prove that point of what exposure levels are to different sound levels and things like that. So there's loads that can be done. My specialism is hearing, and I'm so lucky in my committee. We've got neurodivergence, we've got ADHD, dyslexia, autism, all covered. We've got someone with sight loss, a wheelchair user, digestive conditions, and I'm probably missing out lots in between. So, the support that we give as a whole with all of my really dedicated committee is fantastic. And being at a national level, we feed into all of the individual staff support networks nationally in all the police forces with what we do.
So with all this knowledge within your organization, how frequently are you asked by police forces? Because the UK is divided in many different police forces, independent.
Yes.
How often do they ask for help from you or support so they do correctly according to the procedures?
Yeah. And I would say, if taking the DPA necessarily out of it and merging it with all of the individual forces, we're all asked on a daily basis for help and support with a medical condition, with a neurodivergence. What can be provided to help me. It's really, really big, and support in the UK has gone nothing but up. When I joined in 2006. None of these networks, some of them existed. The Women's Network would have existed back then, but nothing for disability, reasonable adjustments. It just wasn't there. We definitely seem to attract people who are neurodivergent as well. So although I said a quarter of the workforce is likely to be disabled, actually when we talk about neurodivergent, it's probably going to be a much higher number. You mentioned data earlier. People are fearful of providing the data, so we can't prove that, but it's very likely just because of the job that we do, that it has that attraction, which is fantastic. So we're asked a lot for help and support, and with hearing particularly, it's really, really complex because of the technology side. So I'm trying to get our airwave Tetra radios that we use frontline policing. I can pick up my personal mobile phone and it will stream audio straight into my hearing aid. Why can't that work with our radios? It's 2025. So I work with Motorola and Sapura and say, look, and that's a worldwide thing. They're worldwide companies. Why can't we do that? And then, so that's what I'm working on with them. So we're asked very regularly for support. We're really pleased when people do reach out. We know that it takes a long time sometimes for them even to send that email, because they're of the stigma, the fear, they're worried about what might happen. And when they do, hopefully we then give that comfort and advice and signpost them, because we don't necessarily give individual advice. We'll signpost them to the right person for them.
So if you are a police officer or a police staff in the UK, and you feel that you've got a disability that you would like to come forward with and share with people at your work site, would they be able to write to you to have a person that would be their support when they do this? Because that is what I just thought myself, that sometimes you need someone behind you that you feel that give you more strength to actually tell what have happened to you. Is that something that you try to do?
Yes, it is. And I think sometimes as well, people might decide to go to us being the national body rather than their individual force, because it's kind of that level of removed. And I think, okay, we're a bit more independent perhaps, although we are all serving officers and staff from our own police forces. You might get advice from someone in the Met when I'm a Hampshire officer, someone in Manchester, someone in Yorkshire. So it removes that element of connection to a police force and potentially a fear there, because We have 43 Home Office forces, but they're all separate businesses, if you like. And we have
Yes.
non-Home Office forces like British Transport Police and Police Scotland, for example, civil nuclear constabulary, as extras. So yes, people can come to us, we will give advice, we will give support, and we will signpost, because we also have the staff associated. We have like the federation that police officers pay into as a subscription, so we can signpost to them if there's more of a legal advice, if they're concerned that their police force isn't treating them as they should. That's not something that we should be getting involved in, so we'll signpost into the federation. And for police staff, it's Unison along with some other bodies, but mainly Unison that we signpost to. So we work really closely with also the Police Superintendents Association, and we haven't mentioned intersectionality, but the reason we've met is because I called into the WOSIP webinar that you did, so Women of Colour in Policing. We've got help and strength and support alongside us there, the Black Police Association. We've got associations nationally for all the protected characteristics, and we work together. And because I think there is a barrier there, this is my personal opinion according to Andrea, but if you're a Black officer, you're gay and you're disabled, that's massive. Just one of those things within policing is big for you to be dealing with. So you may well go to that support network that affects you the most. Is it your disability? Is it your race? Is it your sexuality? Because to go to all three of those networks and be members of all of them, that's really difficult. But we have to recognise that intersectionality. And partly why I called into that conference is my passion. I'm actually the only white person in my family. You mentioned my surname. My surname is African. It's actually double-barrelled and longer than, this is my short work surname. So yeah, my husband's Black. My two boys are mixed race. So I have a real passion for bringing people of colour in policing as well, and making sure they're treated fairly alongside all the other characteristics. But that is also a real passion of mine. Although I'm white, I've had experience of discrimination myself of race because of my family. So yeah, they all tie in together, and we have to work together to be stronger, which is why this connection with yourselves and the International Police Association is so important to help all of that. Because I think together we are stronger. We can all learn from each other and experiences.
Yeah. Yes, and now I understand why you joined the webinar about women of colour in policing that we held on the IBZ Gimbal through the hashtag She's IPA network. And that went also to be an attraction to you to be a member of the International Police Association. So tell me about that attraction, Andrea, as a little final thing here. You're a role model for so many other things, but why do you think that you would like to be a member of IPA?
Because I've realised, my journey, I think, within working and being an advocate for disability, I've realised how much strength and power there is from learning from others. We are just the UK. We are individual forces within that, and we all do things differently. And I'm really intrigued to find out how people do things in other countries in the world, because I'm absolutely sure that we can learn something. Hopefully they can learn something from us, but I'd love to learn something from them. And I think that's really, really powerful, meeting other people. I certainly don't know it all. I'm on my own learning journey. I don't just represent hearing, I represent all disability. There's no way I know everything there is to know. I'm not neurodiverse myself. My husband is, so I have that experience through him, but I don't have it myself. So I rely on others. I mentioned the committee, all the different disabilities we represent, but I really want to widen my knowledge and help. I just think it will only help offer our members, more support if I have that connection, and introduce my committee as well to that, and broaden our horizons really, rather than trying to keep it too insular within the UK.
Yeah, lovely, Andrea. Well, I will be happy to meet you as an IPA member as well. And I wish you absolutely the best of success in your role as president for the DPA, because I know that you make a difference, not only for yourself, but for a lot of people within your country or within the whole UK. And it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. So We will say thank you from Policing TV. The IPA Insight is something that you learn something new every time that you watch our episodes. And the hashtag She's the IPA try to highlight women in policing and women within the organization International Police Association. Thank you for listening. Welcome back.